seem like the cops are racist.
Right.
Because I don't believe I think it's people that are racist, not a system.
Right.
You can't generalize people. Not everyone's the same.
I don't even know how that sprouted in itself.
I used to
get military man.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, he's ex-military now, but I get the bald fade. That way, when it grows back, at least it still looks faded throughout. And then I'm just trying to grow it, higher up.
Okay. Yeah, because I get sometimes people call it the Jew fro, but I get it grows out.
Yeah.
You can see a little bit of a wave. This is after putting a hat on it to mat it down, because it grows out of curls.
Yeah.
So I look like one of those those little old time kids with the curls, looking a lollipop in a sailor outfit, like certainly.
Pennywise.
Yes, exactly. So I just asked because it's very nice. Now, did you do it last Friday? Oh, sorry. Do you mind? Can you put that on silent if we do?
Oh, my one.
No problem. Go ahead. Here, I'll take away my microphone.
It actually went. My dad's probably gonna be mad, but hey, this is worth it. All right.
So it sounds to me like you might be familiar with the Change My Mind a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as what it is, it's not really a debate. It's rationalizing a position. Today we did talk about COVID. But right now we are talking, particularly because of the riots right now and because of all this going on, demands that are being laid out in the public and Black Lives Matter in the public eye. I do not believe that today in 2020 the United States is a racist country. Certainly not systemically. And if you disagree, I'm more than willing to have you change my mind.
No, I agree with you. I feel like racism really comes down to people's ignorance and not really understanding or knowing someone else with a different culture or background. And most people I've met in Texas, like I've seen more racist people when I used to live in the Northeast.
I did in New York. I saw so many racists. Like you'd see cab drivers yelling the N-word.
I don't know, like if you're still like close with Joe Rogan. Like I've seen some like fight, well not like fight, but like
him and black guys.
No, just like something that he says like honest conflict is better than dishonest harmony, and I feel like people are just going to be people that I'd rather you be authentic with yourself. If you don't like me because of my race, just let me be truthful. Don't lie, because like some people like be nice, and then when you truly get to know them, Yeah.
I think too, like we were just talking about the hair thing, and I was just talking with a man. His name was Kendall, and he was a young black man, and he said that he felt like there were these preconceived notions, these expectations of what it is to be a black man, he said, and that was hard to live up to. And he said that we're all athletic, and he said he wasn't really that way. He was seemed more like of a book smart kind of guy. And I think that's a good example of something where I don't think that I have that as a white person. And so we don't need to be colorblind. And I go, man, well, that sounds pretty hard. People expect you to act a certain way because you're black. And he said, yeah, and you don't know that. And I said, okay.
Like to tell hey, yo, what's up, man? How you doing?
Right, exactly, that kind of thing. It was a very nice, articulate man. And so I think there are differences, and learning about that is it means like I can be ignorant. For example, like you get your haircut. I don't know any white guy who gets his haircut every other week. I just learned something.
Yeah, I think we should take pride in getting to having that experience to be able to learn from others. I feel like
when it comes to that, it kind of feels like people demand special privilege or special treatment. And what do I mean by that? If you see somebody in a suit with a briefcase, freshly clean cut hair, or with a nice tie, nice shoes, and you see them walking confidently down the street, more than likely you're going to assume that they're a successful worker, businessman, entrepreneur. You're going to assume that they're doing something with their life. But if you see somebody walking down the street, their pants hanging down, they leaning with a walk, they got a chain on, like bust down chain on, their hair is probably not done, or just something like, or they wearing, or you see somebody in pajamas down the street, you're probably not going to assume that they're a businessman. Not saying that you're right or wrong in these assumptions, but that's literally just how humans are wired. And as much as people don't like to admit it, the example they brought up where he said that people judge him based off of whatever his race, or they judge him based off of preconceived notions. The reason I'm bringing this up is because every human has preconceived notions. We all have preconceived notions. As much as people want to deny it, every one of us have a preconceived notion. This is why when we go somewhere fancy, we dress up. This is why when we go to work, we dress up. This is why when you go to a funeral, you dress up. This is why when you want to look nice, you dress up. This is why when you go to sleep, you don't necessarily dress up. When you're comfortable with someone, you don't dress up. That's just how humans are. So when you try to negate that from, I guess, race, or you try to negate that from how we dress or how you're perceived, it's a dishonest way to live life. We all have preconceived notions. Every human, me, you, all of us.
A person should always want to be, expand their mind. And, there's nothing wrong with that. You want to know for yourself, not because you were trying to be condescending or demeaning in any way,
Right. Can I ask you this? Your dad was, you said, former military man? Mm-hmm. So a strict guy. What is his view right now on the riots and the Black Lives Matter and the law enforcement?
We do not speak that much about this issue. My brother, he protests. He doesn't believe in the rioting and looting. I don't think any of our family members do, but I don't think America's systemically racist. But it's like if you were to look at the amount of black men per 1,000 and white men per 1,000, because I believe the Caucasian race 3 times triples the black people, correct? Or is that
black,
is that wrong?
Depending on the number, make up between 10 and 15% of the United States population. Yeah.
But still, the same amount of blacks are being killed as whites, even though there are more white people than black people.
Well, that's something we've talked about quite a bit, and actually it's significantly less. But you can't just base it on percentages. So
yeah, because I don't want to be a number myself, or
right. But even more, there are numbers that I think that are more relevant in that scenario. So, for example, last year there were 9 unarmed black men shot by police officers. Mm-hmm. Okay, white guys there were 19. Mm-hmm. Now, if you were to look at those numbers and just say, well, that's not nearly as much more as there are white people in the country, well, you also have to take into account interactions with officers based on violent crimes. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure this isn't a surprise necessarily to you, but the number was, do you know how much more likely a black male, specifically a black male under the age of 30, is to commit homicide than a white male?
I do not.
It's over 35 times more likely. 50% of all homicides in the country are committed by black males. Now, a lot of that is gang violence. As you know, that happens in neighborhoods, and they don't have that so much even in poor white neighborhoods. They don't really have the same gang-on-gang violence, so it's not necessarily just, black on white crime or white on black crime. And they also commit 60% of armed robberies.
And I mean, for all we know, it's I feel like there's always secrets have secrets, and there's always agendas. Right. For all we know, all this could be on the media and put out there just to make it seem like the cops are racist. Right. Because I don't believe I think it's people that are racist, not a system. Right. You can't generalize people. Not everyone's the same.
And I think yes, and I think that we need the reform to come from that place of understanding. For example, police reform. Defund the police? No. Here is my proposed solution, though, at least some steps that I hope we could find some common ground. At least strip some of the power away from police unions that protect bad police officers. And I think we need better training for police officers, specifically in unarmed conflict.
That's one rhetoric I never understood, saying that all police officers are racist. I don't even know how that sprouted in itself. And the reason I think that specifically is a harmful narrative is because I'm pretty sure we all have police officers in our family. Forget the family aspect of it. Police officers risk their lives every day. Their job is to risk their life to protect other people. And I know you can look at the nuance of my statement and say, well, technically they don't have to risk their lives, but they do. They do. If your life is in danger, you're calling a police officer and you expect them to come and help you get out of whatever situation you're in. So yes, they're risking their lives. For you to just assume that they're racist is almost like a slap in the face. You're racist, but if something would have happened to me, you better come and fix it. You better come and make sure I'm okay. You just called me racist. You just insulted me. That whole narrative is I don't get it.
On that. So for example, right now you go in, you do a couple of physical things, and you don't necessarily have to stay up on your tests. Mm-hmm. And so think about, you get into a violent conflict with a man, your only option is to go to your tool belt.
Yeah, so because my dad
can't fight.
Yeah, my dad was speaking about it. A lot of ex-military become cops. You're trained to kill in the military, not to suppress. To protect and serve. I feel like this is somewhat long gone. It's muddled. I don't think they're necessarily protecting themselves before they're protecting citizens.
Right, but in some cases they are.
Yeah.
In some cases,
like I said, I'm not trying to generalize. I believe they have the best interests.
Yeah, you see the Atlanta shooting? You saw what happened there, and did you see the full tape?
About the guy, he beat up officers, threw him on the ground.
2 of them. He spiked one off. So here's a good question, because he spiked one officer on his head, right? Now the officer reached, he grabbed his wrist. Yeah. That's something if ever anyone...
no, COVID.
Yeah. Well, we already shake hands. Yeah. If anyone has ever done a month in jiu-jitsu or judo or some kind of grappling art, right away they would learn how to control that. You would learn more in a month than most cops do in their entire life.
Jeff about this. Yeah, so the training, I feel like, because I saw a video, it takes more time to become a barber than it does to become an officer with a gun.
Yeah.
I just think they should be taught to lower, lethal force.
If they,
because if you're here to protect us, don't, don't kill us,
Right.
like just like even if it hurts us, like to detain us. I mean, we are, our biggest enemy, I believe.
And even that point that he said, he's right. Don't protect us, don't kill us. But even that, I'd argue, majority of police officers don't kill people. Like an overwhelming majority don't do it. So even what he's saying is like, yes, you're right, but it's not even called for necessarily. Majority officers are not out here harming people. Majority just do their job and go home. But of course, some things happen, and I'm not justifying that in the slightest. I'm just saying majority doesn't happen. That's like someone saying engineers don't create crappy circuits. Yes, there are engineers who possibly create crappy circuits, but majority of hired professional engineers do not do that. Majority of doctors don't here and do malpractice. Yes, there are doctors who do bad things at their practice, but majority don't. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. Majority of officers are just normal officers.
I think everybody, especially when you have a rap. Did you know about the rap sheet from Rayshard Brooks?
No.
The full tape. They've only run the long shot, grainy footage where he shot at and Wendy's, right, to try and sleep it off. No. This is a guy who likely wasn't just drunk, but he was so inebriated he fell at him. Now, I understand that's a non-lethal weapon, but why do cops have it? To incapacitate. So if you incapacitate a cop with his taser, now congratulations, you just won the deadly weapon lottery, And so to me, when I watched that,
I wasn't even mad after watching it.
Really?
I mean,
I wish it didn't happen, but I don't think the guy's a racist.
A life was taken.
Right.
I don't agree with that.
Sure.
I mean, I feel like I have Christian principles myself, and I don't believe in taking a life. But I mean, at that point in the world that we live in, you had to be asking for that,
right?
Because people get shot for much less.
Right, white people get shot for much less.
Yeah.
I mean, I put it this way: is it unfortunate? Sure. Do I think that officer had any malice? No, and I certainly don't see any evidence right now that he did that because he was a racist.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been around people. White people that are nicer and more friendly to me than black people, right?
Yeah.
And then even in school, people say, "Why do you talk or act or dress so white?" I'm like, "What's wrong with speaking with articulation and somewhat intellect? Why be stupid and appeal to the masses?"
That was something that Kendall brought up too. I want to ask, is that something that you feel is expected of you to speak and act a certain way from the black community?
Like it's more of what people want. People want you to put on a show every day. I mean, if I spoke like that, they wouldn't take me seriously, but they get a good laugh out of it. Like if I said, "Hey, yo, what's up, man? How you doing, blood?" It's like what do you get out of that? Like, why speaking the slang when you know what I mean? Like when I'm speaking now.
Here's how I would say that. There's nothing wrong with people who do speak like that. What I would say is, you should respect people despite how they speak or despite how they dress or look. If they respect you, they deserve that respect. I do think it's a problem, however, if you look at this man and say, well, since you're black, you should speak like me. You should dress like me. That's a problem. That's 100% a problem. If he doesn't want to speak like that, who are you to tell him he should speak like that? And why are you respecting him less as a black man or even as a man in general because he doesn't speak like you or dress like you or whatever, or this hair is not like yours? It shouldn't matter. And that's where we should get at. If someone comes up to you and say, "What's up, blood? How you doing?" You shouldn't look at them like they're less than, like they're less intelligent to you, because they may not be less intelligent to you. The same way, if you dress a certain type of way or do your hair a certain type of way, it doesn't matter. There should just be an underlying level of respect for people, and you shouldn't judge other people or demand they dress or talk or walk or carry themselves a certain way. If you respect me, I'll respect you. I don't care how you dress. I don't care what you sound like. I don't care what you look like. If you respect me, I will respect you. That's it. But if you have any more suggestions for me, comment down below. It's LFR Jojo, and I'll see you next week.